All right, moving along, we're gonna jump into the Extreme Z area for the special characters. This is for the Candy Vegito and Ghostenks. Um, JMO, what was your thoughts on the pool of units that are available for this?
Uh, not really that upset, to be honest. I don't like. For me, I pretty much just took obviously Pan. I took the Saiyaman Trunks. I took Candy Vegito, Ghost Tanks, and I think I took the EZA Fizz tanks as well. I didn't really have issues with it. I did take the other Grandpa Gohan, though. I know I took that as well. I mean, the pool units didn't really change it. Obviously, you need to use the Candy Vegito and the Ghost Tanks, but I didn't have issues with it to be completely honest. Decent pull of units, just weird.
Right. I mean, did any of you guys have any real issue building a team out of
No.
this?
No, I actually streamed it. It's the first time I've done a live stream, and I decided to stream it. And the only thing that bugged me about the whole thing was you had to use Candy Vegito, and he wasn't getting any boost off the leader skill. That was the only annoying thing about it. It didn't cause me any problems. It was just annoying because he was always struggling for key. But the other characters more than made up for it. I agree, it wasn't particularly difficult. If you have that physical Gotenks, then you're golden. Absolutely golden if you've got that physical Gotenks, but I don't think it was hard. There's been a lot harder, easy areas.
Oh yeah, definitely. So kind of touching back on the Gohan and Pan event along with this. Last week I did a stream where I did the character farm, the metal farm for Grandpa Gohan and Pan, and I did the EZA metal farming for these and awakened the units, and I even ran a legendary Goku event with some of the awakened units. And in grand total, I think I streamed for like 2 hours and 45 minutes. So when you guys are talking about your horrible drop rates from the Goku or from the Gohan and Pan, I'm just shocked because it's like I did all of that stuff in like just under 3 hours. And
Yeah.
like you guys are saying like it took you an hour just to get your first drop of the unit. I would be freaking
To be
livid.
fair, I didn't say that. It was fine for me. RNG,
Yeah, that was
man,
me.
RNG, unfortunately, I think with some people, me and you obviously get the good RNG, Alex, and they got the bad RNG. It can
Mhm.
happen sometimes. Do you know what I mean? I think that's just the rule. I mean, going with Ghostenks, I was just trying to get 5 more to get him up to SA15, and oh my god, the amount of times I had to run that event. So I guess it's just your luck with these events, what your drop rate's actually like.
I must be really lucky because I farmed up my 5 Candy Vegetos and 5 Ghostenks before my stream that day. Like I got up that morning, that's the first thing I did, and like an hour before the stream I was done.
In all honesty, I got my Candy Vegito, no problem. I seen a girl on Twitter, I'm not sure of her name, but she showed her actual stats and she'd done over 50 runs and she only had 5 Candy Vegetos.
Oh, it hurts to hear it.
Yeah,
Candy
that's painful.
Vegito was my freaking kryptonite that time. Like, I was having so much trouble with Candy Vegito, but when it came to the Grandpa Gohan and Pan, like, I was getting them to drop left and right. It wasn't hard.
Oof, dude. Yeah, I guess not everybody has their Moon Nappa medal experience on the Moon Nappa medals, huh?
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
true.
that was bad. Another a prevalent YouTuber, a notable YouTuber, did comment that they had a lot of difficulties getting Pan and Gohan, and they did use Kai's. Truth, he said he used Kai's because the drop rate was horrendous for him. So I guess
who
it
was
is just
that?
Truth.
True. Oh,
True.
yeah.
But I think he just admitted that he gets a bit lazy now and he just buys them. So
Yeah, I don't.
people like that.
Yeah, truth plays on a different level from the rest of us.
That's true.
Truth's got massive whale status. We can't fall. We can't be like, oh, well, he can't be bothered. It's all good. He's got content.
Yeah, so my team consisted of the physical seal tanks, and then a random smattering of youth units, and of course the 2 that were required. And I didn't really run into any difficulty. I feel like a lot of the controversy surrounding easy areas has gone away, and we're just left with another version of Dokkan events that just get kind of really boring after the first 3 runs.
I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with easy areas. I think if people were completely honest, they're not moaning about the easy area. They're moaning about not getting 34 dragon stones from doing an easy event. I mean, I wish people would just be honest. They're not actually moaning about the easy area being bad. They're moaning that they're not getting the dragon stones. That's what it is. I mean, if people were brutally blunt, that is what it is. Don't get me wrong. If you're a re-roller, then yeah, these events are going to be difficult for you because you've probably not got these characters. But I mean, for me, I used who did I use? I used the seal tanks, like we said. I used Ghostenks. I used Candy Vegito because you had to. I used Trunks, the Great Saiyaman Trunks. I used B-Pan, and I used the 8-bit Vegeta. And it was easy. And in fact, I used Bulma, so I must have used somebody different for that. But I was all the characters were pretty much free, or they were free, apart from seal tanks.
Yep.
But I mean, it was I don't find these events all that hard. The only ones I've found hard is the Broly one was kind of difficult during the anniversary, I think it was. There was times when that could catch you off guard because sometimes they done quite a lot of damage. But if you did the Raditz and Vegeta one first and built him up, then you could go into the Broly event and you kind of found it easier. What I tend to do with these easy areas is I level up the easy A as I'm doing it, so that you've generally got to use that character on your team. Well, as soon as you've got enough medals, boost them up to whatever you can get them to. Keep going so that when you get to the harder stage, they're already at level 130, and it makes it at least a little bit easier for you.
He really is Scottish, me. So
it's the way to do it, man. I just think it's the easiest way to do it, man. Just get it.
It is. It's a great way to do it because you're incrementally increasing your power as you're, ramping up the difficulties of the events as you're rolling through. So it keeps it kind of on an even keel.
Yep, I agree.
So
obviously, because I'm the Scottish you, so obviously I agree.
So let's jump into talking about the tiniest top-notch hero, Vegito. Candy. We like Candy. All right, so...
All right.
His leader skill is still pretty much worthless. It's attack and defense plus 20% per key sphere obtained. That might be useful in like nuking events, but I believe that there's 30% leaders.
JP side?
Yeah.
On the JP side, there's the 200% Frieza event. That Candy Vegito is like the optimal best leader to take in for it.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can't actually take the real nuke leader units.
I haven't even looked into the event, so that's good to know. Thanks, Test.
Yeah, me and Test are like bigger into JP stuff, so we know.
Right? That's what we need. A little forward knowledge, the biggest benefit Global has.
It's true.
So Super Attack raises attack and defense for 99 turns and causes supreme damage with a high chance of stunning the enemy. I believe that's 50% chance.
Yeah.
Okay. He has a great chance, which is 70% of evading enemies' attack, including Super Attack. He disables enemies' guard. His attack and defense raises by 20% for every tech key sphere he obtained, or his defense raises by 10% for every non-tech key sphere obtained. He also recovers hit points with Candy. Link skills are more than meets the eye, shocking speed, over to flash power bestowed by God, infighter, supreme power, shattering the limit. Categories are Majin Buu Saga, Patara, Final Trump Card, and Battle of Wits. Tystra, where are you sitting on this behemoth of a free-to-play unit?
I mean, he's good regardless. Like I've always liked Candy Vegito. 1, because of aesthetic, and 2, because it's fucking Candy Vegito. He's decent regardless. I just personally don't see me using him as much. I mean, with the Frieza 200% of it, if that's the case, if he's the most optimal, then I'm glad that I got him ready to go. But personally, for me, I don't see using him too much. But he's a good free-to-play unit. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, even before the EZA, I figured that he was like a...
Right. JMO, what are you building this guy as? Where are you focusing your hidden potential?
Mine's been done when he first came out. I honestly don't even remember what I gave him. To be completely fair.
Well, if you did it when he first came out, you probably jacked him up with a bunch of dodge, because that was kind of the thing to do when he originally came out.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, he's probably much better suited, in my opinion, for additionals. Hazink, what do you think?
I'm just going to load up my game just now and check, actually. I think I've got my additionals.
I have him with no dodge, actually. He's 12 additional, 14 crit.
Oh, dude, that's not bad. It's not bad at
I've
all.
only-
Mine is like, it's 15 additional, it's the 3-5 crit, and then 6 dodge.
Mine
Yeah, I've got a similar build as Nemo. I give mine potential orbs. Not potential orbs, sorry, skill orbs.
Okay.
Mine is 17 additional, but that's because I've got 2. I've got a bronze tech on them and 11 crit.
Yeah, I want to say mine's was probably 15-11 before skill orbs with no dodge. He's one of the few units I didn't give level 3 dodge to, because why?
The only problem I've got with him, and I have this problem with a lot of units, and sadly this is just more to do with me than anything else, I summon on every banner. Like every banner, I summon on every banner. I've had every Dokkan Fest that's been released in the last 12 months. I don't use free-to-play units. I never get any space to play them. If I try to play them on Final Trump Card, I've got plenty of other units that can go in there. If I try to play them on Battle of Wits, I've got plenty of other units that can go in there. Same with Patara, same with Majin Buu Saga. I can appreciate how good he is for a free-to-play player, but I'll be honest, I would be leaving out a better character to put him in my team, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's basically what I was getting at. It's like, he's good, but right now, like, with how my box is looking, because Whale's
Not good enough.
You know, he's not good to make a replacement for any of my team.
Yep.
But again, if he's optimal in any type of situation, I'm glad I have him, and that's why, like, I'm always a proprietor for Whales to get these free-to-play cards, because even certain free-to-play cards are a better option than pay-to-play.
Yeah, I agree, and that kind of brings me full circle back round to what we were saying about Grandpa Gohan and Pan. I think if these free-to-play characters are more focused on support, now obviously they can't do that with every unit, but if they're more focused on support, then it doesn't really matter if you're a whale, a minnow, a dolphin, you're going to find space for them in your team, because support units work for anybody's box, you know? Whereas these just more attack-focused characters, I mean, unless you are like fully free to play or really lacking in certain areas, you're probably not going to run them.
Yeah.
And we finally found a spot where we're different, because I do spend money on the game, I do summon on most of the banners, and I still love to use me some free-to-play units.
But you do it for fun. I mean, that sounds really wrong the way I said that. You like to make these off-the-wall team builds where you can try and challenge yourself to do things a bit differently. I do that as well, but what I mean is, generally in your normal playthroughs, do you try and make the game harder for yourself, or do you go with your best build?
Depends on the event. Like if it's something where there's a drop rate thing, I'm of course going to take the best drop rate possible, you know. But like going into a Dokkan event, it really comes down to what theme do I feel like taking into this at the time.
That's fair enough. I just kind of thought more for the initial grind, for the initial doing it, you'd probably go with your quickest, fastest team, get the grind over and done with, and then maybe after the fact, when you're making content for your channel and stuff like that, that's when you start mixing it up and trying new and different things, and that's when these characters come really good. But I'm just thinking from the average player who's maybe not making content for YouTube, for example, if they've got a good stacked box, they're probably not going to stick these units in their team, you know, just for general day-to-day play.
I gotta put out there that I love how you took back what you said right afterwards, because it's like, oh, you like to have fun, and it's like, wait, you don't have fun playing this game.
So I think I talked over Namor there for a second. I'm sorry about that. What did you have to say?
Yeah, no, I said that the perfect example of that is the two units that came with Gohan and Cell. The Goku and Gohan and the Vegeta and Trunks. Mm-hmm. The Vegeta and Trunks is like a hard hitter, like classic unit, you know. Nobody ever uses that unit. Nobody. And then you look at the Goku and Gohan, which is a support unit, and people just use them like, you know, in their normal teams because they're supports.
I use Vegeta and Trunks. But I get it. I get it. I'm not the average player. I get it.
Yeah.
Like I do things differently.
Even for me, like I'll still use it because those are, in my opinion, the perfect definition of a good free-to-play. because those things are just they're good. Like honestly, they should be like secondary units on banner.
Yeah.
Like that's how good they are.
Bringing it back to our Jawbreaker of power here, anybody have any other thoughts before we jump into Ghostenks?
I did take him on the Legendary Goku event. He was dodging nicely. I mean, he seems to have upped his game with his dodges. Whether that's just a luck thing, I don't know. But his EZA seems to have worked out pretty well for him. I'll say that anyway. I'm sure J Fanta will be creaming himself over the changes to him.
If he's not playing Genshin though, if he's not playing Genshin.
I think he was more excited about the Ghostenks.
He's all over Jinro's favorite unit post talking about how Vegito Candy is his spirit animal. So I'm just saying.
Honestly, I could see that.
Like straight up.
It's almost because Josh loves to talk like shit, and he'll be like the whole time he's just making circles around you and like just talking shit. So that doesn't surprise me one bit.
Somebody brought up Ghostenks there, and I think that's probably a good segue to what we're going to talk about next. But I think Ghostenks is a completely different animal, which we'll obviously get to in just a minute. And I could see why people would prefer Ghostenks to Candy Vegito, but I'll wait until we're there and we'll talk about that.
Oh, we're basically there now. So Ghostenks, after his EZA, fusion category key 3, stat 77%, or his sub lead is int type key plus 3 stats 50%. Super attack greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn. I believe that's 20%. My highlights aren't working, so whatever. And causes supreme damage.
50%.
Is it 50%?
I think so, yeah.
It is 50%. 30%, sorry. SA multiplier and defense by 30% for 1 turn. Nope, 50% after the EZA. 30% was before. This is why I like it when these things actually work and the highlights work. That didn't work. Anyway, causes supreme damage to the enemy with a high chance of stunning them. Passive skill is randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to rainbow key spheres. Attack and defense plus 7% per key sphere obtained. Recovers 9,999 hit points and attack and defense plus 30% per rainbow key sphere obtained. Recovers HP with candy. Link skills are Golden Warrior, Super Saiyan, Prepared for Battle, The Innocence, Fused Fighter, Saiyan Lineage, Shattering the Limit. Categories are Fusion, Hybrid Saiyans, Joint Forces, Youth, Super Saiyans, Special Pose. Namor, how big of a benefit do you feel this unit is to a category like Fusions?
Fusions is like, it's really limited, so I think it's very good, especially because his name is like so unique, you know, with the ghost in it, and the biggest thing about him is his stun chance and the healing. For me personally, at least from my experience using him, those are his biggest factors. And he's good. He's a good unit.
All right.
See, I would completely agree with that. That's why I'm saying I think he's a different animal, because his categories aren't as stacked. I mean, you could still use them on a youth category, you could use them on a fusion category. Like they aren't like Majin Buu Saga. They aren't like the categories that Candy Vegito's on. I mean, although he's not a support unit, the fact that he's getting HP back, it kind of provides support in that regard as well, because he's obviously getting you as the player HP back into your squad. He's a bit of a nuker, and like was just said there, his name's unique as well. I think he stands out more as a free-to-play unit than Candy Vegito does, because even as a whale, a dolphin, whatever, you're probably not going to have that many fusion characters, because fusion is kind of lacking. Even though it's about to get a major buff, but it is kind of lacking, and I still think there's a place for him, whether you've got a good box or not. And I think that's kind of why he's, as kind of said, he's a different animal to Candy Vegito.
I agree.
JMO, you're one of the art guys on the show. How you feeling about this card art?
Actually, I do like this card art, to be fair. Like, it's a different thing. I always just felt it was too close to Steel Tanks, to be honest, but the ghosts, obviously, make it a little bit indifferent. But overall, the unit's really solid. I still throw him on my fusions team for the most part. So I have use for him. I haven't used fusions in a minute, but I know he's definitely still on that build. So I'm actually more intrigued to see what he'll do now that he's EZA'd, but I haven't fully tested him. But overall, the card art's sick. I actually had an overlay when he first came out of that card art while I was farming him, because I used to do that. So like with Lone Bardock, for example, I had all the Bardock stuff when I farmed Prime Battle LR Trunks. I had the entire set of Trunks as my overlay, and it would just cascade to the, SSR, TUR, LR. And I did that for the Ghostenks as well.
I actually think Ghostenks was the overlay you were using the first time I ever saw you stream.
Probably.
Because it was about a year ago, I think.
Well, if you check the Discord, I just posted the Butcher Girl match art for him, which I just think looks fantastic. Just because we're talking about the art.
It had some amazing art.
Look at the art of that Ghostenks, and imagine that was a Dokkan card. I would just be like, wow, that's just so good.
That is pretty sick. I like that.
Yeah, I just like that style, and I think it would have looked cool. Don't get me wrong, the Dokkan art's cool as well, but there's just something about that art I think looks fantastic. People can't see what we're looking at, obviously, but I think it looks amazing.
Well, I mean, it's up on the screen. I put it up.
All right, cool.
So, I try to be good about that, so that way we're not leaving people in the blind of what we're talking about.
I see.
All right, so any other thoughts about this particular unit? Are you guys satisfied with the effect the EZA had on him, on his passive, on his just general outlook?
Yeah, I am. Just because he's a unit I feel that I can use even now. I like him. I think he's good. He'll work on Super Battle Road. He's got use, and I think they've done a good job with him. I think a character that people probably weren't expecting to get an EZA, getting an EZA, and it being quite a good EZA, I don't think there's anything to complain about.
Yeah, I really like his super attack effect. I think it's really good.
Yep.
What is up, my dudes? If you like this clip, be sure to check out the full episode down below in the description. Also in the description below, you can find all of our panelists on Twitch, YouTube, and various social media. Be sure to like and subscribe and ring that bell so that you know when the GGP puts up some freshly squeezed content.